Hello and welcome to the podcast, The Way of the Sensitive. I'm your host, Cara Wilde. This is a podcast for those of us who feel called to live in a different way, to create a new society where diversity and uniqueness is celebrated, not shamed. We're the channels of the light, co-creating a heaven on earth upon this beautiful planet. We're here to live and achieve our soul's goals in this lifetime. To us, it's not woo, it's real. Calling all the magic makers, the mystics, the empaths, the sensitives, the starseeds, the artistic, autistic ones, sometimes sidelined, sometimes scapegoated, but we know that we're here to create new pathways in the one mind, because it's not just about traversing alternative dimensions, it's also about landing and being fully alive in this gorgeous world. Hey sensitives, welcome to the podcast, which is the first in a series that I am calling Interview the Guides. And this series is going to be me interviewing various guides through the channels that I know and asking very similar questions so that we can see different guides' perspectives on topics like reality creation, negative entities, thoughts create form, what life is like in the non-physical, and anything else that comes up that I get really curious about when the guides are talking. So I'm really excited about this series, and the first guest in this series, Holly Worton, who you're going to listen to today, was the one who suggested it in the first place, because I was interviewing her guides for her. I was helping her channel her guides, and she gave me the feedback that I happen to be really good at interviewing guides, and I think that's just because I'm just so damn nosy, and said you should do more of this. And I just thought, well, that's just an awesome idea for the podcast, because not only does it give us different glimpses into non-physical and different ideas and concepts to think about in terms of reality creation, to see where we're in resonance with it, but let's face it, you don't find this kind of information coming up on the 9 o'clock news. We need exposing to these ideas over and over and over again about reality creation. It never gets tiring. We need exposing to it until it becomes our new norm. So on this particular podcast, we do dive deep into questions of what it's like in non-physical and how easy it is to understand being a non-physical being whilst we're in physical reality. The whole idea that you can't think outside of the set that you are currently operating in. And some of the answers were interesting. And also some questions that came from the Facebook group that goes along with this podcast were about negative entities and evil and how to protect yourself and whether they actually exist. And I actually wanted to know more about the truth of the so-called intergalactic war. And Holly's guides gave really interesting perspectives and answers. So as always, let's keep the discussion going in the free Facebook group, which you can find at carawilde.com/Facebook group. And what I've got lined up over the next few days is a lot more channels to interview, and you get to see as well different channels at play and in operation, and just see how different it is. Some of them are my students from the Channel Guide program. Some of them are people, professional peers that I know from other areas of my life. And you can get to see whether you think it's something for you. You can get to see how normal it is. So there's many layers, I think, to this particular series. If there's any particular questions that you want me to ask these guides, pop it into the Facebook group and I'll endeavour to do so. Enjoy today's podcast and see you in the Facebook group. Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to the first ever channel Interview Your Guide series. And today I'm really happy that Holly, hi Holly,
hello,
has agreed to be the first. Well, do you know you're the first person to do the one of this series actually?
I think I assumed I was just because I knew this was new and I was the one who jumped on I was like, yeah, I want to do it.
So some people I think might have already seen a bit of a backstory really about how this came about. Was you wanted me to ask some questions of your guides who you do the hue process with.
Yeah.
And we had it, that was such fun that you said you should do more of this, and I thought, oh yes, please, I get to play. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, because people have been asking me about that. I think they really enjoyed it. So welcome. And you've just been telling me before we started that you channel various different guides and collectives. Do you want to just say a bit about that?
Yeah, so when I started channeling a couple of years ago, I was channeling a guide called Layla, and I don't even know if you've heard about her because I haven't really connected with her in a while.
Nope.
So worked with her for a while, and then I kind of moved away from channeling, wasn't doing very much of it, and then last year, a collective of guides called the Richards stepped in and asked me to start channeling them when I was walking the Ridgeway National Trail last year.
Wow.
So that was my first point, my first connection with them, but also my first time doing verbal channeling, because I decided to channel verbally as I was walking and record it all on my phone. So that was a great experience. And then early this year, I think it was, Bridget stepped in and I started working with her quite closely. And then the first time I really kind of did the verbal channeling with the heart-centered energy work guides was when you interviewed me a couple of weeks ago. And so that was when I got very clear, clear guidance from them, in addition to the process that they allowed me to channel. So yeah.
Verbally channeling is a different experience, isn't it?
It is, because before then I'd been kind of journaling, like I would connect and I would ask questions and then I would write whatever came into my mind, and that was really lovely and it was really helpful. But verbal channeling really kind of took it to a new level to me.
Yeah, I can feel you kind of like settling into that, the energy of it. So each of those guides that you work with, then, do they all feel different to you when you're connecting? Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. Very different energy.
And do you experience sometimes, well, kind of what I teach and what my experience is, that each guide almost prepares you for the next one? Has that been your experience as well? Like you climatize to one vibration and it seems to prepare the way for the next?
It hasn't been so linear with me. So I'm continuing to work with the last three guides that I mentioned. So I do work with the Richard still. I work with the heart-centered energy work guides who called themselves Orion, and Bridget I work with. So
right, okay.
Yeah.
So it's more like they're just all available maybe for different things?
I think so. That's the impression I'm getting.
Yeah, okay. So who are we going to channel today?
I don't know. I kind of connected with them about a half an hour ago, and I said, look, I don't know if Kara's going to ask me to connect with a specific one of you or if you're just going to choose who comes in. So I said, if we have an option, I said, just figure it out between yourselves.
Love it.
And one of you can come in, and I said, I trust that whomever's meant to come in will come in. So
okay, so we're going to go for whoever is the best guy to work with today. Okay, so I've got some basic questions, and I've also got some very specific questions that came in just this morning from the rest of the tribe in the podcast group. So are you good to go?
Good to go. Let's do it.
Okay, all right. So you just give me a nod when you've got your connection, yeah? Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Who am I connecting with?
We are Orion.
And hello, Orion. Thank you for being with us today. And so, is that your name, or is that the kind of dimension that you're from? Can you tell us a little bit more about where you're from?
You are correct. This is the dimension that we are from. And so we call ourselves this name so that you can connect us with this dimension.
And are you a collective or a single entity?
We are a collective.
How many? God, I can feel the difference between when I interviewed Holly the last time. So, how many is in your collective?
We are many. We are constantly flowing and reforming into new shapes and forms at the energy level. Our numbers are, how can we describe this? It is almost like an amoeba, like a cell. They divide, they change shape, and we are like that, but in energy form.
Okay. So, what creates the shift and change? What's that in response to?
It is in response to the work that we must do, the work that we are focusing on, the people that we are connecting with. It has to do with the different ways of using our energy to help others.
So, what is the purpose of your work? What is your work?
We are here to help humanity connect to the heart center and raise the vibration and to bring more light into your world.
I can feel that heart connection with you when I'm connecting with you. It feels very calming. Actually, you feel very calming to me, and one of my favourite words, very nourishing, which to me is always like a good sign. So it feels like you're stabilizing rather than like a really high vibe. And but what I mean by that is like we have the vibration of excitement we kind of associate with a really high vibe.
Yes.
Can you just talk a little bit about like vibration and what is a high vibration to you, what is a low vibration, and where the heart center kind of comes into that?
We consider the high vibrational energies to be the light energies and the low vibrational energies to be the dark energies. And we are here to help you connect. We're here for connection, to connect your heart centers with other people and to connect hearts all throughout your world and to raise the vibration through making these connections with your heart centers.
So, okay, so that's really just helped me understand that I think of vibration in terms of emotional state. And
Mhm.
right, so I don't know what in human terms, how would we experience light and how would we experience dark? How do we recognize the difference?
The difference is very clear in how you feel it in your body. When you feel that you are in flow, when you feel that things are happening with ease, when you feel in your gut that things are right, when you feel in alignment, when you feel coherent, these are what we consider to be high vibrational energies or light energies. And when you're feeling down, when you're feeling depressed, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling angry, these are the low vibration or the darker energies. And we must clarify that these energies are neither good nor bad. They serve a purpose. All of the energies serve a purpose. So it is not that the light energies are good and the dark energies are bad. It is good to have both types of these energies, not just so that you can distinguish the light from the dark or the dark from the light, but so that you can have these different wavelengths within your lives to teach you different things.
So, there's a couple of questions from there, but I'm really aware that somebody in the group this morning asked a very specific question about positive and negative energy in their terms, and I think that's really useful to ask now. So, what he wanted to know was how can we protect ourselves from negative or evil entities? And specifically, it was because he feels like he's someone who's a very positive and he's an attractive for the negative. Could you speak to that?
Hmm. we would ask if he feels like he is operating within the light and positive energies, but yet is attracting the negative energies or the dark energies. What purpose is this serving him? What is he meant to be learning from connecting with these darker energies? Why are they coming into his life? We understand the need for protection, the need to feel like protection is something that is needed, and sometimes it is, but often this is a reaction out of fear, and we understand that. But if these dark energies are coming into a person's life, it is worth examining why that person is attracting these things and what is meant to be learnt from them, so that they can accept that these energies, these dark energies, these lower vibrations do exist, that they're here for a reason. They're here to teach you certain things, and to be grateful for them and to release them so that they can flow onwards and help someone else, but not to get stuck in those energies.
So that makes sense. So are you saying that the being able to be released from those energies is the seeing the light lesson of them and releasing them through gratitude? Is that?
Yes, through gratitude and also love. Sending love out from the heart center to these energies, thanking them, being grateful for them, for their teachings, for the things that they bring you, and then remembering to release them so that they can flow onward and help someone else.
So how would you release them?
Again, it is about sending the love, is it about sending the gratitude, and creating the intention that you have learned what you need to learn and that it is okay for them to go on. Many times we see people getting stuck in these negative energies, as you call them, or the dark energies or the lower vibrations. And we see people caught in a kind of downward spiral that's very destructive. And we see that it can be difficult for people to let go and to release those energies and to open up to the light once again. That is why it is so important to send these energies love, to send them gratitude, to be open to the learnings and the teachings that they have. And understanding that once you make contact with these darker energies, that doesn't necessarily mean that you must hold on to them. You can release them.
Okay, so the two things, there's our own kind of vibration, our own energy stream that's maybe dictated by the thoughts that we have about ourselves and the life and the world. You know, like our belief system creates that feedback that might feel like either a high vibe or a low vibe, kind of, you know, flow or not flow. And then, so from your perspective, because I know different guides have different perspectives on this, so from your perspective, are there energy entities that are going around kind of looking for somewhere to hang out and hang on to?
This is correct. This is correct. And this is why it is so important to make those heart-centered connections with the light entities, with other human beings, with other people and energies and entities that are working with the light. It is important to be very connected with those light energies so that when you come into contact with these darker energies, you can easily release them when it is time to do so.
Okay. And so that taps into, I know that there's some theories out there that there are dark entities outside of physical reality that are manipulating our physical reality, and even that are I don't know how to describe this, that are working to stop light workers from doing the work that we're here to do. So it's almost like there's this planetary war theory going on, and I've slipped in and out of where my belief system is on that for years. So I'd really value your perspective. I mean, you know, Orion's supposed to be part of it, so I'd really appreciate your perspective on this intergalactic war and inserting experiences in physical reality to stop light workers from doing their work. What's your perspective on that?
Our perspective is that the war is an option. The war is a choice. You can choose to fight the darkness. You can choose to participate in the war, or you can choose to turn your back on the darkness and you can choose to focus on the light. There are many ways of amplifying the light in your world. One is by fighting. That is perhaps not a productive way of fighting the war. We find that it is most useful to raise the vibration of your world to focus on the light and to release worry and to release fear of these darker energies. We see that as much, much more productive in terms of changing the world and stepping into this higher vibration of consciousness to focus on the light rather than to worry about the dark.
Okay, so it's the same for galactic issues as it is for choosing whether to watch the news or not and kind of get drawn into that. It's the same process from your perspective.
This is correct. This is correct. You can choose to be a warrior or you can choose to be a light worker and to focus on the light.
Yeah. Okay, so in my language, that's you can choose to be a warrior or you can choose to be an adventurer. And an adventurer just changes the form as they go along rather than battling it. Okay.
This is correct.
Thank you for that. The next question is, how can we start to be a channel? So I guess that leads really nicely into either a channel for the light or actually a channel as a guide, and channeling with a guide. And I think that the person meant specifically partnering with a guide to be a channel, but it'd be really nice if there is a way of introducing how to be a channel of the light in that as well.
It starts with the intention. It starts with the interest. If you are the kind of person who has been drawn to these things and who has found yourself reading things about them on the internet or books or things like that, it is quite possible that this is something that you are perhaps meant to be doing. Mm-hmm. And we see that the next step is to open yourself up to the possibility, set the intention, and reach out to the guides. There are many light beings. There are many dimensions. There are so many light beings that you can connect with, so many guides, whatever you choose to call us. And it is a matter of opening up, setting the intention, and making that connection, stating your interest in connecting with one of us, with a collective, with any amount of spirit guides, and the right guides or the right light workers or the right light energies will step in and will make the connection with you.
Okay. I always encourage my students to ask for the highest possible guide. I kind of like, the creme de la creme. What's your thoughts on that? Would you say to set the intention for the highest possible or just what is most resonant? What would your guidance be?
It is whatever is right for the individual. We like you're saying the creme de la creme. Mm-hmm. We like this because it encourages people to step up into a higher level and connect with the highest level guide that is possible for them to connect with at this time. As you know, the right guide will step up. A person who is interested in channeling will never make that connection with an energy that they cannot hold or that they cannot connect with because that energy is too high or too big or too great for them. So if they set that intention for the creme de la creme, the right guide will step up for them. The highest possible guide that they can connect with will step up, and they need not worry that it be too much for them.
So in terms of recognizing that initial connection, I mean, I think one of the most traditional ways is inner journeys or meditations, but then also, can guides make themselves known to us in physical reality? I have my own perspective on that, but I would really be interested to Like, do guides pop up in physical reality? Do they insert things into physical reality to help us out?
There are times when we do, when it is needed. For some people, the non-physical is difficult to connect with. Mm-hmm. And there are times that we do step into the physical when it is needed. This is, we do not want to say rare, but it is not common. And it must not be expected. It is very important also for people to trust. And trusting themselves and trusting the process and trusting their guides is very much part of the journey and the experience in channeling. Mm. So it is important that one not expect a physical manifestation from the guides.
Yeah. Okay. And that leads really nicely onto another question from somebody else this morning who said, is there a common block or a quick win to deepen the connection with our guides? You know, particularly if you're struggling to feel that connection or to trust that connection, or is it just a case of practice?
It is a case of trust. Trusting yourself, trusting the guides, trusting the process. Relax and trust yourself. We understand this. This is often very challenging for people. And you are right that practice can help with that. But you must set the intention to trust yourself, to trust the guides, to trust the process, and really be willing to give yourself permission to trust and to step fully into the trust of the relationship with your guides.
One of the things, one of the things that I've discovered in teaching this process is that if people are not connected to their emotional flow, if they're scared of feeling some of their emotions, or if they're used to not saying how they really think and feel, that can make channeling a little bit more risky and difficult to trust. Like, in order to trust that connection with your guide, you've got to be your own channel for your own emotions and your own truth first. I'd be interested to know what you think about that.
We're in agreement with you. It is very difficult. If you do not trust yourself and if you are not open to receiving information, not just from the guides, but from yourself and from your own intuition and from your higher self and your higher guidance, it is very difficult to receive information or energy or any kind of transmission from the guides. You must be open to trusting that you will always receive what is in your best interest and highest good, and simply be open.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you. This is changing track. So what is the purpose of dreams? Like, what's the reason why we have dreams? Do we go off into different dimensions? Are there different places? Are there different functions of dreams? What's your perspective on our experience of dreams whilst we're in physical reality?
There are many, many different types of dreams. There are dreams where, as you said, you travel to another dimension, you travel to another realm, you travel to another parallel reality, as you sometimes call them. And there are dreams where you simply stay in your reality, but visit the dark corners of your mind or your brain, which can show you different things that are meant to enlighten you and to teach you things that perhaps you were not aware of during the day. And these types of dreams can be challenging because they come in symbols. It is not as though you were to open a book and read a chapter on what it is that you needed to learn. But the purpose of dreams is to broaden your experience and to give you additional information that you may not easily be able to access during your waking day, because when you are in sleep mode, your mind is open to these parallel realities and dimensions and information within your own mind.
Okay, so with the focus being taken off physical reality that we have constructed through our current beliefs and ideas and expectations and desires and imagination, we're only focused on that. That's kind of like all that we can see. So the function of dreams is to unplug us from that and connect us back into different stages of like the wider perspective. So the wider perspective of our personality in this physical reality, and then the wider perspective of our dimensional self.
This is correct.
Okay.
It is to allow you to leave behind for a short period of time the constraints of the physical body and connect with these other dimensions, other realities, and all of the different realms that you have access to always, and yet find it difficult to connect with during your waking state many times.
Ooh, so how can we make best use of this then? So if we want to connect with parallel lives, can we exchange energy and information with parallel lives? Can we use that ability to connect to different dimensions in our dreamscape more? Can we use it more consciously to improve the quality of our life in physical reality?
This is correct. You may set the intention to visit parallel realities, other dimensions, other realms, and to get information from them as you would get information from a book or from a film or from something else, other type of some place that you learn. It is just like anything else. You can get very valuable information from these dimensions and from these realms and take that information to help you in your current life.
Okay, this sounds like a really, thank you for that. And this sounds like a really weird question, but it's popped into my head, so I'm going to ask it. Who's in charge of that? So once we set that intention to get that information, what makes that happen? Like,
it is source. It is the collective of all the realms, all the light beings, all the entities that are out there. It is the collective energy of all that comes together to bring you the experience that you need at this time.
Oh my God, we've got such a team. We've got a huge team in the mind. No wonder I get messages that I've got like army of angels on my side and things like that. It's like we really do forget how connected we are. So that makes it even more important that when we set that intention for the, I don't like the highest good term, but I can't think of anything else. But that, we're going to connect with, it's like going for the best CEO and the best management committee when you work in corporate and physical reality. It's like set that intention that we deserve to get the best team on board. Or am I being too human about that?
We like your perspective. You will always receive the best team for you at any given time. And that may not always be the easiest team. It may not be the team that you expected. It may not be the nicest team. You may have a challenging team. You may have a team that pushes you to do things that perhaps are outside of your comfort zone or difficult. But you will always have the team that you need at any given time.
So I'm guessing that their intention is that it's going to be the team that leads to the most joy. That seems to be... Is it the outcome that they will be focused on?
They will be focused on helping you and assisting you to lift yourself up into a greater connection with your higher self or your soul, however it is that you call it, and see the wisdom that you already have access to at the soul level and tap into that wisdom and step into the strengths and the talents and the knowledge that that part of yourself has.
Okay. So that leads me on to, like, what, from your perspective, what is the purpose of physical reality?
There are many limitations with physical reality. We are aware of this, and this is precisely the purpose, to create a playground, to work through challenges, and to allow your soul to grow by experiencing these different lifetimes, these different worlds, these different realms, so that your soul can grow and become multifaceted and rich and play. It all comes back to play. Your soul is playing in this physical reality. Even if a person's physical reality is terrible, terrible poverty and hunger and things that humans see as such a horrible thing, or cancer or pain, your soul is playing. Because your soul is experiencing things that while your human self sees them as being terribly, terribly negative and terribly, terribly difficult. And why do these horrible things happen? And why does God let these horrible things happen? Your soul is playing because it is learning, it is experiencing those things for itself so that it can grow and so that it can add. It is like a diamond. When a diamond is rough, it is just a rock. And then the person who is cutting the diamond creates those different facets that make it sparkle. The more experiences that a soul has, good, bad, whatever, are like new facets on the diamond. And the more facets that the diamond has, the more the diamond sparkles. And the soul just wants to sparkle and shine its light and reflect its light. And so these things that humans see as negative, the cancer, the poverty, the terrible things that happen, they are just new facets for that soul to shine like a diamond.
Wow, that felt really powerful when you explained that, and so I can imagine that people that are living in those challenging circumstances might struggle to hear that message. And what I wanted to ask, and I get it, and from that soul perspective is a very different perspective from physical reality. So leading on from that, what is real joy possible in every physical lifetime?
Joy is a choice. It is possible to take what you have and be joyful, to see the joy in your life. In even the tiniest things, there can be joy. The fact that you woke up this morning and you are alive is something to be joyful about. The fact that you had food to eat today is joyful, even if it was the tiniest piece of bread, even if it was just a spoonful of rice. There can be joy in these things.
Yeah. And so what would your definition of a life of real joy look like? What's to hear? What
A life of real joy, and we recognize that this may be challenging, is to see joy in every second of every moment of every day of your existence. To be in the flow of joy and to feel the energy of joy, the sparkle of joy, it is like the diamond of joy, the glitter, the radiant energy of light that joy brings to your life. But to feel that and to experience that in every moment of every day.
So I'm starting to sense something as you're talking there about joy is very similar to love in that it's a choice in every moment. And like Wayne Dyer always said, that heaven is not a place, it's a state. Yes. And there's something coming to me about, I don't want to get into quantum physics because I don't think I can. I only know a little bit about it. But as though in every single atom, all different components are available. And if we focus on the ones that we want to experience, that's where we can start to construct a reality.
This is correct.
Okay.
This is correct. You must consciously create your reality by focusing on what you want to be true, on what you want to experience, on what brings you joy. And we cannot underestimate the importance of joy, of gratitude, of love, of heart connectedness. And when you are not feeling the love, when you're not feeling the joy, when you're not feeling the gratitude, Find a way to remind yourself of these things, because these are the things that will lift you up out of the darkness, will lift you up out of a reality that you are not enjoying, and lift you into joy.
Okay, so we can be presented with various ways of looking at one thing that's happening to us in physical reality. Now, this is something that I hear from my clients quite a lot, and also conversations with friends, is it almost feels scary. Well, it does feel scary to sometimes to let go of keeping your eye out for danger. You know, that kind of when we live our physical reality at the moment is I think it's probably one of the most fearful times that we've probably existed. And there's so much that's telling us to keep an eye on things, don't take your eye off the ball. We live in a constant state of like freeze and a stress response and feel under attack. And so whilst I absolutely agree with your perspective, and it's also what my guides tell me as well, and many other guides, that we get what we focus on, what support could you offer? What guidance could you offer for people that are scared to stop looking at the horrible stuff and just scared of trusting in love and scared of that perspective?
Instead of saying don't take your eye off the ball, we would say don't take your eye off the light. Always have some kind of connection to light. When you see yourself getting sucked into the darkness, remember to turn your head and focus on the light. You can watch the news, you can read the terrible stories, you can focus on the difficulties and the violence and the dark things that are happening. Or you can turn your head and look at the light. It is simply a matter of making the choice to turn your head away from the fear and toward the light. It is a choice, and it is a choice that you must remind yourself to make if you would like to step away from the fear. It is a conscious choice.
Okay, yeah. And I suppose the more that we do it and the more we get the feedback from physical reality, that it's believing that we create our reality. I think for me, that's the biggest. Once we really start to see that, to believe it and to know it, then it becomes more of a choice, an active choice.
You are each responsible for your own lives. Things do not happen to you randomly. If you do not like your current situation, you must make the choice to do something else and to create a different reality. And we understand that this is not a matter of from one second to the next, your life will be completely changed. We understand that it sometimes takes time. Sometimes it does not. Sometimes it takes less time than you may think. Time is fluid. It is a very different concept to us than it is to you. But you must always be aware that you are creating your reality. There's no such thing as fate, that your entire lifetime is written out for you in a book and that it is unchangeable. It is exactly the opposite. It is always changeable in every second of every day.
So we're told that thoughts create our own reality. Like, it's quite common theories down here that, reality is frozen thought. Then it's the emotional vibration, the emotional attraction and emotional resonance. You've mentioned focus quite a lot. We haven't got time to go into the reality creation 101. I guess it's that's books worth of information. But what is the most significant aspect of reality creation out of all of those that I've just mentioned from your point of view?
As you say, it is thought, it is focus, it is what you choose to fix your gaze on. And that is what we mean by focus. So as we said, you can choose to fix your gaze on the news, on the fear, on the terrible stories, or you can choose to fix your gaze on the light. And it is simply a matter of either, as we said, moving your head from one side to the other or moving your eyes. Choose what you feed your mind with. Choose what you feed your thoughts with. Choose what you feed your brain with. You make the choice.
Okay, so when you say focus, I'm thinking like sometimes the focus of somebody could be, oh, I haven't got many relationships in my life. People just treat me, they take me for granted, and I haven't got anybody that I feel really close to, and I feel really lonely. And that's a focus, isn't it? Having those thoughts and looking at that reality that we've created so far, I think is what you mean by focus. And so then is it a case of, right, that's what I've created. What do I want to create? And how would you then help somebody maybe in that circumstance shift to focus on feeling connected, having more relationships and more connection in their life? Like, how would you support somebody in shifting the focus?
It is a simple matter of asking the question, you currently have this, which you do not like. What do you want instead? Shift that focus from what you do not want to what you do want, and focus on what you do want. Many people are very unhappy with their lives. Many people do not know what they want. They only know what they don't want. And so they're focusing on what they don't want because all they want to do is run away from what they don't want. But they don't know where to run because they don't know what they do want. So they don't know which direction to go. You must always ask yourself the question, what would I rather have instead? What do I want instead of what I currently have? How do I want to feel instead of how I currently feel? What do I want to see instead of what I currently see? What do I want to do instead of what I currently do? What do I want to have instead of what I currently have? What do I want instead? And focus on that. And again, it is a simple difference of looking here or looking here. And you change your focus, you change your gaze, you change what you're looking at. And just that simple act will make many things shift in your life. You will start taking actions differently. You'll start taking actions away from this and toward this because you will know where to go. If you do not know where to go, you simply know that you don't want this. You will find yourself running circles around that same thing that you do not want.
Okay, so asking, I mean, and that can be a difficult question for people that are used to, ignoring their desires and kind of settling and things. So I think it's useful for people to know that it's okay to not know exactly what you want to begin with, that's a process of discovery. Yes. And that's why people hire coaches or have readings. So that, I think, there's no shame in not knowing what you want exactly.
This is correct. If you need help, you get help, but you must take responsibility for your own life and do it. We know it is difficult sometimes. That does not give you an excuse to stay stuck, circling and circling and circling around the pile of shit that you are currently experiencing that you do not want. You do not want to smell shit, then you walk away from it. You need to know where to walk.
I think you're like a Nike guide. Just do it.
Action taking is very important, but you must know which action to take and where to step. Get out of the circle and towards the light, towards what you do want. And we say, once more, get help if you need help. There is no shame in getting help, but you must take the action.
Yeah. And that's just really that you've just said and demonstrated there is a really, I think, good demonstration of what, for me, a high-level guide is like, because I've seen you, talking about your soul's diamond facets and could feel the love pouring from you from that. And then there's also the no excuses empowerment vibe of you're here to take full responsibility for your life. And I think, sometimes people can think that guides, like unconditional love, is very empowering, and it doesn't want you to not be in charge of your own life, and that's why we get almost like lessons. If we don't listen to the whispers, life's going to get louder, so that we do start to take action and take responsibility. because that's
This
a
is
gift
correct.
from source. Yeah.
This is correct. And when things get worse and worse and worse, and as we said, the pile of shit gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you continue to circle around it, it gets to the point where you cannot tolerate it anymore and you must do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when you get to that, you know, the bottom of the pit, and that's the usefulness of the lower vibration, isn't it? That I think you
This
were
is correct.
alluding to.
This is what one of the things that the lower vibration may teach you.
Okay. Oh, I've got so many things I could ask you, and we're kind of running out of time. But the one thing that, like, just one more thing that I kind of want to go into is a bit more about what's it like in your life, like in your experience. Because I know when I channel, I get glimpses of those other dimensions and what other lives are like. And I mean, do you hang out with other guides? Do you have your version of like going out for a drink? Do you have relationships? You know, give us a lowdown. What's it like up there or out
It
there?
it is pure light. It is pure flow. It is pure love. We do connect with other guides. We do connect with other light beings. It is pure, pure joy. We can be in any dimension, in any realm, at any time. We can be wherever we choose to be. And we flow and we migrate between these different dimensions to where we choose to be, to where we choose to work, to where we choose to help, to where we choose to connect with the different beings that exist, that are out there. It is, as we said before, the multifaceted diamond. It is as though we existed in a dimension full of brilliantly glowing diamonds and light everywhere, and a warmth, as you would say, a feeling of love and joy.
Thank you for that. And okay, so and I guess it's hard to convey in physical language what that's like. It's like, do you go off and like create form or create thought or like, I don't know. I know you connect with us and you help us, but what do you do for a living? I mean, you don't have a living, but that kind of like, what do you do? How do you spend your days when you don't got time and space? I don't know if it can be conveyed through words.
We experience joy and love. This is the purpose of our existence, and to help others. But we simply exist in a state of pure love and joy.
Okay, that sounds divine. But thank you so much for talking with us today. Is there anything else that you would like people to know before Holly kind of disconnects?
The choice is yours. The choice is yours. The choice of what reality you will experience is yours. You can choose dark, you can choose light, you can choose difficult, you can choose ease, you can choose love and joy, or you can choose anger and fear. It is what you choose. So if you do not like what you currently have, you must get clear and explore what it is that you would rather have instead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Thank you.
Hello.
That's
That was
good stuff.
great. Thank you. It was really good stuff. Yeah. What was it like?
It was good. It was really good to connect with them again. And I loved this process of you doing the interview to help bring the information out. Oh, that was quite.
Yeah, because my experience is when people ask me the questions, when I'm being the ancients, I get to feel that stuff that you just can't convey with words. You know, I was kind of really pushing you as a channel there towards the end, because that is hard. You know, God, you're sparkling. You're really like,
It's got
yeah.
facets.
Oh. Okay, so if people wanted to like work more with you as a channel, how would they go about that?
Well, so I've got my heart-centered energy work process, which I'm using to help people create the reality that they want. My nose was full of tickles the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I kept needing to kind of scratch my nose. So I have my heart-centered energy work, which is the process that Orion allowed me to kind of channel and bring through into this world.
Wow.
And so that is the primary way that I work with people. I have not ever offered channeled sessions with them, but that is definitely something that I would consider if someone is interested, because I love working with them and I love connecting with them. So if people need help in shifting their current reality, that's what I do.
Brilliant. Yeah. And it really makes sense that they come with you and they're the ones that have helped you get the process as well, because it is really heart-centered. And for as long as I've known you, that's been your mantra. Even before you started channeling, it's just like, that's your vibe, girl, a heart-centered life.
It is, but it's also been one of my biggest challenges, of course.
Right, yeah.
I remember one of the first times I was kind of introduced to the concept of chakras, someone said to me, like, your heart center is totally blocked. And like working to open that and really I've done loads of work on the heart center over the years. And I think part of the reason I came to have that challenge with the blocked heart center was so that I would feel the power of opening up that center and working with a specific connection. So.
Yeah. And then have such rich information for when you're teaching people to do the same. Really. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I'm sure that we'll see you again.
I would love to come back again. Feel free to ask them any questions.
Okay, see you soon. Bye.
Okay, thanks.